Let's talk about content marketing and SEO, because many people, myself included, use these two terms interchangeably, but they are two different forms of marketing, albeit with some overlap and a little bit of synergy that happens between the two of them. So let's start with content marketing. What is content marketing? Content marketing is basically producing content that either engages and, I guess I could say, or differentiates your brand. So your idea, or what you're trying to do behind content marketing, is you're trying to engage with your audience or differentiate your brand. Now, to be successful with content marketing, you have to distribute your content where the actual audience is. And this can vary from industry to industry or even offer to offer, right? Depending on the products and services that you're offering. Where your actual audience is and engages can vary. So for example, if you are selling a sleep product to 20 to 25-year-olds, your audience might be on TikTok. That might be where you need to be doing your content marketing and sharing your content for them to engage with. If your audience is 50-plus-year-old homeowners, your audience is probably going to be best on Facebook. They might be a little bit on Instagram, but probably not much. They definitely aren't going to be on TikTok. Maybe they're a little on Twitter, but the best place to engage with that 50-plus-year-old homeowner audience is going to be on Facebook, right? So that's something you have to consider in your brand, and that's where you want to publish the content. I see a lot of people get this wrong. Particularly, I see a lot of local home service business owners that try to market their local business on YouTube, right? Or they're publishing a lot of YouTube content. By and large, their audience is not on YouTube looking for their services or their business or any information around them. So it is largely going ineffective or largely going unseen on these channels, or it's irrelevant. So I guess let me kind of elaborate on that further. People go out and they spend a lot of money or time making these YouTube videos, and then they get seen by people all around the world, right? And they're like, oh, wow, look at me. I've got 10,000 views on my YouTube channel now for my local roofing company. But the reality is that these views are coming from people all over the world, not actually your customers. So it's very important that you go to and do your content marketing where your customers actually are. So let's put that on here. Let's just kind of put this on the Venn diagram here. Engage or differentiate with customers. Right? That's what content marketing is. To be successful with it, to be successful, go where your customers are. And I should preface this by saying this is number one, right? So now, what if you are that local roofing business, right? Where can you go where your local customers are? That can be hard to do. And I guess I'll just kind of say, I'm just kind of saying a lot of things here, but you could go to things like Facebook groups. So I guess let's just put this on here. We'll just put TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, right? And this is going to be for national brands. Locally, that could be Facebook groups. That could be next door. Now, you're obviously probably catching on to this, that there's much more exposure to be had nationally than there is locally with content marketing. And that is very true. That doesn't mean content marketing is ineffective, but as a local business, you might also have to rely more heavily on distributing content. So what do I mean by that? Well, rather than waiting for your audience to find it, you might need to put that in front of them with targeted Facebook ads. Simply for engagement, not direct response. And I know on this channel I talk a lot about direct response marketing, and I'm a very big direct response marketer. But for my local businesses, and those of you that don't know me, actually the bread and butter, what actually earns the money in my life, is owning and investing in local home service businesses like HVAC, plumbing, outdoor structures like pergolas and screen enclosures. I own an epoxy flooring business. Those types of businesses are actually what earns me money. I do have a direct response marketing business that does earn a good bit of money, but the bread and butter, my wealth, came from owning these local home service businesses. So I'm very familiar with this stuff. So locally, right, you can go Facebook groups or next door, you can distribute your content through targeted Facebook ads, or I like to do email marketing. Text messaging, I guess I'll touch on text messaging right now. A lot of people like text messaging, but to be legally compliant with that is very difficult. So I am not doing it at the moment. I have dabbled in it, but for compliance reasons and the fact that these businesses that I own are fairly good-sized local home service businesses, we have to be compliant. A lot of people I know fly under the radar and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm printing money with text messaging. Yeah, but you're not legally compliant. And maybe you'll be fine and fly under the radar like that, but I build assets, I build businesses that are going to stand the test of time. They are sizable local home service businesses, so they are targets for litigation and lawsuit for non-compliance. And also problems if I were to sell the business and then these businesses get sued for something that I did in the past, I'm on the hook for that stuff. So everything I do is fully compliant. SMS marketing, it is very, very difficult to get the opt-in consent required, and most people, when you stick it in their face, will not opt in, so that's why I'm not doing it. Anyways, email marketing, yes. You can create content and you can publish it on these sites right here, and then you can distribute it by Facebook ads. So if you're a local business, I'm not saying don't do things on YouTube, but if you're going to do that, you have to do this distribution part of it to make it worth it, right? So what is the value in content marketing? Well, you're engaging with your audience, so you're staying front of mind. So stay front of mind. Let's put that on a, let's give that a bullet. And you can also use it to differentiate yourself. Right? So rather than, like maybe let's just say your customer, you're an e-commerce business and the customer is in the market for a sleep mask that's going to help them sleep better. Well, you can use this content. So they've already found you because they're looking for that sleep mask solution, but you can use the content to ultimately differentiate yourself. Okay, let's shift gears now and talk about SEO. What is the purpose of SEO? Well, the purpose of SEO is to capture search traffic. And before we go further into this, I just thought of something here that I intended to say but totally forgot about. Notice I didn't put the word blog in here. Blog is an option for content marketing, and that is kind of where the overlap comes in. So I'm going to just stick blog in already right here. So we're just going to put blog in right there in the middle. And the reason why I don't put blog in content marketing is because nobody will find your blog and nobody will read your blog, no matter how good it is, unless you are doing SEO and it is an SEO optimized blog piece. So you could use the blog, integrated with distribution, which we'll come back and touch on that. But I just wanted to put blog in here because blog kind of falls in. A lot of people think of blogging as content marketing or SEO. It can be both. And we're going to talk about that, but I just want to get the blog out of the way and point out that I didn't include blog in content marketing. And I'm also not going to, really put it in search engine marketing or SEO, but it is I guess it is on the SEO side. So let's just go back to it. SEO, the purpose of it is to capture search traffic. All right, that is it. To do this, to be successful, you don't, but you have to have people searching for things related to your business. Oops, not too good with my whiteboard tool here. And then you also have to publish content on your website. Kind of. Right? And this is going to come back to the overlap. So what do I mean? What do I mean by this? Well, let's kind of look at this a little bit deeper here. You gotta have people searching for things. Okay, if you're the sleep band business, you need to have people searching for sleep masks to be successful with it. If you are selling a totally new product, like I don't know, what's something that nobody really thinks of or really nobody searches for? A B2B service would be it. Okay, like leads, right? I sell leads. I am in the lead generation business, but there's really not many people searching for leads, like to buy it, right? It's something that we need to sell through relationships. It's something we need to sell through outreach. Nobody really searches for leads. I mean, maybe there are some people, but it's very, very few. It's very small, right? So that's done by outreach. So there's no value in really doing SEO for that or publishing content or publishing content on website because nobody will ever find it. There's just not enough volume for it. And then you got to publish content, right? That's a big part of it. Kind of. There's, like two types of SEO. There's satisfying search intent. Let me just go back out of it here. Satisfy search intent. And then there's branding, to capture volume. All right, so satisfying search intent is going to come from largely the people searching for things that are a problem, right? So if somebody's searching for what can I do to sleep better at night, looking at this in context of a sleeping product, what can I do to sleep at night? Well, you're going to publish, you need to do that. You need to, or to get that traffic, you need to publish content on the site that is satisfying that search intent. All right, on what they can do to sleep better, and then in that case, recommend your product in there. Branding has to do more with like local businesses or best of queries, right? So if somebody is searching for best roofer in Tampa, what's going to be a big factor is going to be your actual brand, right? Like, all the websites out there on roofing probably have a bunch of them, or probably have a bunch of content on them, or some of them do, on best roofer. We are the best roofer in Tampa. Here's why we're the best roofer in Tampa. When you need the best roofer in Tampa, call us because we are the best roofer in Tampa and we replace roofs to the best of our ability, right? You see those pages out there. Google calls them doorway pages. But people publish those pages to rank for queries like best roofer in Tampa. But in this time, in 2022, and for the last few years, those things have been irrelevant. What really drives the traffic is your brand. If you are a roofing company and Google can tell that your website is about roofing, and you've built the brand around that, your website will rank high for those queries of best roofer X, right? Or best roofer in X, or best roofer for X. The branding is ultimately a fact. Okay, so now that we've covered each of them individually, let's talk about how they complement each other and where they overlap. We've obviously got the word blog right here in the middle of the Venn diagram, so let's start with a blog. And I put this on here as we were finishing content marketing before we went to SEO, because I was saying that blogging is part of content marketing, but it is really ineffective unless you're doing the content distribution. Right? So on the content marketing side of things, notice I namely started with social media networks: Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook groups, Nextdoor, right? That's where your audience is engaging, but they're not engaging with your blog, or they're not going to your blog unless you are distributing the blog content to them on one of these platforms, or you are publishing content that is satisfying search intent. All right. In other words, you're publishing an article on what are the best shingles for roofing in Tampa. All right, and people might be searching for best roofing shingles in Tampa, and then you're going to publish content on that. People are going to find that and subsequently lead back to your business. But not always. I mean, this is just kind of an anecdote here. I did have one of my local business websites that was getting like 2,000 visitors a day to it, but they're coming from all over, so they were not our customers, and they would just call us looking for free advice. So that is one of the challenges, or I don't want to say challenges, but that is one of the problems and downsides to SEO versus strategically distributing your content or using direct response ads to target people right in your area. Anyways, back to it. My point is here, nobody really comes to your blog unless they're being directed to it from your content or from SEO. But that said, having content on your website is very, very valuable. Content on site is very valuable. Valuable. Let's open this up here so it doesn't look so redonkulous. And I've got one of these little arrows. I cannot get rid of these little arrows for the life of me. I can't avoid making them. And let's kind of give it some bullets. Indent that one a little bit. And then make them smaller, right? All right, content on your site is very valuable. Where that gets published is the blog, but not all content has SEO value, right? The only content that really has SEO value in terms of capturing direct searchers is content that's satisfying search intent. So if you're publishing on your website, what are the best shingles for Tampa, or these are the best shingles for Tampa, that content's satisfying search intent. If you're publishing content that is like, hey, check out this project we just finished, that is not satisfying search intent. But it does help your organic traffic. And here's how. The more content you have relevant to your topic, the better your search volume will be, or the more search traffic you'll capture for those broader terms like best roofer in Tampa or Tampa roofing companies. Okay, so getting the content on the site is very valuable, but again, you got to go where your customers are. So how do we tie this all up here? And this is more strategy than difference, but I think at this point we've established the difference between the two of them, right? They're two different things, but how can we tie them together and get them to complement each other? Well, what I do in my approach to that is publish blog content. So let's get this on here. Publish blog content and then repurpose on social. So what I do when I'm working for clients or for my own business, our approach to it is we publish the content on our blog. That is the hub. Really, the website is your hub. And this is important because you own the website, right? Like, you don't own your TikTok, you don't own your Twitter, you don't own your YouTube. Like, you literally don't own it. Those platforms can kind of start constricting you in terms of organic reach. You do own your website. That's like your little property online. Everything else is just kind of rented land online, right? So publish on your website, publish on the blog, and then repurpose on social. So if you publish a blog post, then go ahead and share it on TikTok, Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, etc. And use those platforms to direct people back to getting more information on the blog. So, give them a taste, give them a snippet, give them a 2-sentence Facebook post or a, 80-character tweet on it, and then say, hey, if you want to see more, go back to our blog or go to this link, which is on our blog, and then you can get more. So in doing that, not every piece of content that we publish on our blog is for SEO. We publish a lot of content. We publish more content not for SEO than we do for SEO. We publish very little content to actually satisfy search intent. More so, we publish the content to engage or differentiate with our customers, but then we share it or we promote it using these platforms, and we also distribute it. That's a form of content marketing as well, the email marketing, to drive people back to our blog. And that gets real users back onto our website. That sends signals to the search engines of real user engagement. and subsequently, then we do better in SEO, and that is building our brand, right? We're publishing that content on there we're publishing the content not to satisfy search intent. We're publishing it to engage with our users, and we're putting it in front of them. And we're going onto the platforms for content marketing. We're doing content marketing, but we're directing people back to our website, which ultimately helps build our brand and therefore increases SEO for the broader spectrum of keywords, right? Like if someone were to search best sleeping products or best products to get, good sleep, it's going to improve the overall website for it. Same thing or more so with local businesses. If somebody was to search for best epoxy flooring company or epoxy flooring company in Naples, that is a location where I own an epoxy flooring company. If we've got all that content on our website and we've been doing the content marketing to drive people to it, even though there's really no direct tracking mechanism for the content marketing, subsequently our SEO will do better. So that is the difference between content marketing and the difference between content marketing and SEO and how they complement each other and how I like to use them to work together. Depending on your brand or your business, you could do one or the other, or you could do what I'm doing and, do both. If you're running a affiliate website, right, content marketing probably isn't your game. Your game is all about satisfying search intent. If you're doing a clothing brand, right? Like a swimsuit brand. And I do know someone personally that owns a swimsuit brand that is very successful. SEO really isn't their game, right? They're never going to outrank the major swimsuit brands. So they don't care about that. They don't really, have people searching for things like what is the most comfortable swimsuit, right? Like that is not their angle. So they really don't need to publish any of this blog content. They can just, get by, or not just get by, but they can thrive with content marketing and their social followings and subsequently direct response advertising to drive business. Anyways, guys, I was intending to wind it down. That's a wrap on this video. Content marketing versus SEO. Let me know what your thoughts are and if you have any questions in the comments below.